Das ist ein Mikrofontest für alle angeschlossenen Stationen. Könnt ihr euch so in etwa mal den Pegel holen? 1, 2, 3, 4. Könnt ihr mir vielleicht mal kurz ein Handzeichen geben, ob das ausreichend ist? Gut. Der Kollege will noch mehr. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Die Rednermikrofone vorne werden wahrscheinlich ein bisschen dünner werden am Ende. Ne? Reicht dir das?
vielen Dank für die Geduld. Hallo und ganz, ganz herzlich willkommen im Namen der Leonine Studios zur Pressekonferenz von Die Tribute von Panam, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Wie immer, bevor es losgeht, hier noch ein paar kleine Bitten und Hinweise zum Ablauf. Machen Sie bitte während der Pressekonferenz keine Fotos, ausgenommen davon sind natürlich die Fotografen. Schalten Sie Ihre Handys auf lautlos und stellen sich nachher kurz vor, wenn Sie eine Frage haben. Wir haben einige Mikros im Raum, die Ihnen dann sofort angereicht werden. So, dann geht's auch los. Let's start. And welcome the fabulous cast and crew of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Producer Nina Jacobson. A warm welcome for producer Nina Jacobson. And welcome director and producer Francis Lawrence. A warm welcome to the actors Tom Blythe as Coriolanus Snow, Rachel Zegler as Lucy Gray, Josh Andres Rivera as Sejanus, Hunter Schafer as Tigris, and welcome production designer Uli Hanisch. So, welcome back to Berlin, everybody, and it's great to have you all here.
Thank you for having us.
I would like to start with a round of questions for all of you, and followed, of course, by questions from the journalists. Nina, I would like to start with you. You've overseen every installment of the Hunger Games franchise, and now you've entered new territory with a prequel. What can the audience and, of course, the fans of the franchise expect from the prequel?
Well, I think what excited us about this book and adapting this book is that while it feels very much that it's taking you back to the world of Panam, and it's very recognizable as if you are familiar with the other movies, it also is a period movie by Panam standards. It happened 64 years before the first movie that we made in the first book. But also it is really taking on a bit of the origins both of the capital and it's sort of as it emerges from wartime to like the sort of reconstruction and rebuilding and the sort of scarring of the capital, both, you know, emotionally and literally. It's taking you inside of, the life of a capital kid instead of always being in the point of view of the districts. And plus it has a completely very different tone because it has this amazing music in it that while music's always been important to the franchise, this is the first time that music has figured so prominently, like in performance and at the center of it. So, but I also think that if you have never seen any of the movies or read any of the books, it is also still very much stands on its own if you didn't know anything about the franchise.
So you don't have to know it, and it's also for a new audience.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Francis, you have directed 3 of the extremely successful Hunger Games films, and now, of course, the prequel. As director, you led a team of tremendously talented department heads, of course. Could you highlight some of them, some of the collaborators that were instrumental in bringing the world of Panam to life on screen?
Yeah, sure. There's a bunch of people that I worked with. I mean, some of the writers. So Michael Arndt was one of the writers that worked with us on Catching Fire. Obviously, Nina and I had worked together on all the other films. Trish Somerville, who did costumes, she and I have been working together since the music video days. She's fantastic. Yo Willems, our cinematographer, did amazing work. And then the sort of new addition, who is probably one of my favorite people in the world, is Uli Hanisch down there. Yes, our production designer who, made this film look so incredible.
We will talk to Uli later, but first, Tom. Tom, you embody the role of the famous villain Coriolanus Snow, which must be, I guess, a huge honor, but on the other side, huge pressure, I guess. First of all, you've done really an amazing job. It's really fantastic. Can you please describe the process of getting in touch with Snow and creating the development of this character?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing about this part is that he's not a villain yet. So, you know, I was a fan of the original films. When I was a teenager, I went to see them when they were coming out, so it was kind of insane to get the call that I was going to join this franchise. I think, obviously, when you first get that call, there's the fear of filling the shoes of Donald Sutherland, who, you know, is like one of my heroes, and I thought was like spectacular in those first movies. And it kind of is like one of the great movie villains of history now. So at first there was a fear of like needing to fill those shoes, but I think Francis kind of put me at ease very quickly. We had a call really early on about just not trying to recreate anything that Donald did, honoring it and kind of nodding towards it, but still making it my own, which I think gave me a lot of freedom to find who this Coriolanus is to me. And, you know, he's 18 at this point. It's 64 years before. And he's like not yet found himself. So it's beautiful to be able to play someone who we know ends up being this awful character, who does awful things, but play him when he's still finding himself. And there's something really rich in that. And I think Francis gave me a lot of artistic license to find my own version of him. Yeah.
Great. Rachel, music and singing are an important part of this film. What can you tell us about a few of Lucy Gray's songs, especially the franchise's signature song, The Hanging Tree? How did you prepare the songs and how did you perform them?
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate to come into a production that was very sure of itself when it came to the music. Francis had conversations with Suzanne Collins when the book was being adapted for the screen of what she wanted the songs to sound like. And we were able to find an incredible producer in Dave Cobb who took the notes from Suzanne with the tempos that she wanted. The sound was this appellation folksy sound that we wanted Lucy Gray to have. And tapping into that voice was something that I had never had the opportunity to do before, coming from the world of musical theater and doing a lot of the big Broadway type singing, opera type singing. I had a great time collaborating with Francis and with my dialect coach, Tamara Marshall, who helped me find the twang in Lucy's voice. And it was just a really incredible process. And when it came to doing The Hanging Tree, there's obviously a big feeling of pressure when you're bringing to the forefront the creation of something that becomes iconic. And with like what Tom was saying, you know, The Hanging Tree wasn't popular in Panam yet. We see her coming up with it in real time, and it's, you know, a reflection of what she's seen in the game. So it was really accessing Lucy Gray's trauma and trying to put it into song, which is what the greatest songwriters of all time do. And so it was such a fun process, and I had the best time working with Francis and with Tamara and especially with Dave Cobb.
Nina, I heard that you were deeply impressed by the singing and the recording, the singing scenes. Can you share a little bit?
Well, Rachel's very unusual. Ordinarily, when you are shooting music sequence, you pre-record, and then for performance, the actor will sing along very quietly or just move their lips because, you know, it's hard work. But Rachel is, you know, an animal, and she always wanted to perform live. So every time you see her sing on screen, she's performing live right there on stage in front of our cast and crew. So it was just kind of jaw-dropping to see, you know, how moved people would be just over and over again. Usually it wears off, but when a person's singing live with that voice and so much emotion, that was really an incredible experience for the rest of us.
Wow. I don't ask you to sing live now. Hunter, my next question to you. Hi. You play Snow's cousin Tigris, and you are, without any doubt, the most fashionable person in the film. Please tell us about Tigris' style a little, her outer and inner beauty, which is central for the film's emotional core.
Yeah. It was like a big honor to sort of like bring that part of Tigris to life, because like when we first met her, I think we kind of automatically understood, like on a surface level and an aesthetic level, like she's really fashionable and is able to put together these vibrant looks. But the cool thing about her is that she has sort of, or everything that she makes or creates is like rooted kind of in sustaining Choreo and her's survival in Panam, especially in the face of hardships and poverty and whatnot. Yeah, she kind of has this like inner beauty that she's pulling from to make things that might not initially be so beautiful out and bring out their beauty, which is really cool. It's really fun to bring to life.
Thank you. Josh, you are Snow's friend Janice in the movie. What was it like for you to shoot in these impressively dystopian movie sets? Did it make it easier for you to immerse yourself in the world of the Hunger Games?
Yeah, absolutely. We were really fortunate in that, like, a lot of our sets were in actual, what's the word? Practical setting environments, if you will. And particularly with District 12, a lot of that was just very, very rustic industrial settings and old abandoned buildings and stuff. A lot of things that I've never had the pleasure of seeing before, let alone like, you know, spending whole entire days in. It was spectacular fuel for you know, being able to portray these circumstances. It was really terrific.
And now let's talk to the person responsible for the impressive movie sets, Uli Hanisch. Hello, one of the best production designers, not only in Germany, I would say.
In the world.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
And I think we should switch to German for this, because I guess that the journalists might like to record your answer in German. Sorry for that. Deswegen auf Deutsch. Uli, wie war das für dich, in die Welt der Hunger Games sich einzuarbeiten und dann eine Welt zu erschaffen, die ja nochmal 64 Jahre vor dem ersten Teil spielt? Was waren da für dich die besonderen Herausforderungen?
Ja, ich glaube, das ist genau der Punkt, dass man sozusagen eine Vorlage hat von den vorhergehenden Hunger Games Filmen, eine Ästhetik, der man jetzt sozusagen vorweggreifen kann. Und das war dann auch ein bisschen die Idee, weshalb wir letztendlich in Berlin gelandet sind, ist, dass wir, um diesen geschichtlichen Aspekt hervorzuheben, hier in Berlin eigentlich die Idealbedingungen gefunden haben, weil wir sozusagen das Kaiserreich, das Dritte Reich und die DDR aus Berlin in den Bauwerken hier irgendwie alle zusammen eben vorfinden, uns bündeln können und miteinander verbinden können. Kombinieren wollte ich sagen, nicht kopieren, kombinieren können.
Ist es richtig, dass du dich an Berlin der 50er und 60er Jahre so ein bisschen orientiert hast bei der Vorbereitung?
Genau, das war eigentlich wie so eine Art Schlüsselidee zu sagen, wir haben eigentlich einen seltsam vergleichbaren Moment, wenn man Ostberlin vergleicht mit dem fiktiven Capital, also mit dem Kapitol von Panam 15 Jahre nach einem Krieg, nach einem Bürgerkrieg in Panam, der sozusagen aber auch in die Stadt eine Zerstörung reingetragen hat und sozusagen einen Wiederaufbau jetzt mit sich bringt und sozusagen eine Stadt ist, die sich im Begriff ist, nochmal neu zu erfinden oder selbst zu finden und in eine Form zu finden und also eben zwischen dieser Bedrohung und der Einschüchterung und der Verführung hin und her pendelt, und das konnte man, kann man ganz gut in Berlin darstellen.
Vielen Dank. Francis, I've learned that you are a big fan of Berlin, and what can you tell us about filming in Berlin and the collaboration with Studio Babelsberg, who co-produced the movie?
Yeah, I mean, when Uli and I first started working together, we decided to do a little research. We knew we both wanted to shoot in practical locations as much as possible, and started to sort of search around and see what felt right. And we discovered that we really wanted primarily to shoot in Berlin. We found an amazing location in Poland as well, and some places in Cologne and Düsseldorf and Duisburg. But Berlin was really like where we thought the capital was going to be. And we started to focus on this sort of Reconstruction era after the war and started to look at the architecture that felt right for us and had the most possibility for us. And so it easily became the choice for where to primarily shoot the film.
Yeah, and I saw that your name is printed on the Studio Babelsberg bag, among other very well-known directors.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, no, Studio Babelsberg's always been like a great partner to us, and they were a great partner when we shot for a short time here on the original series. In fact, one sort of fun little fact is one of our big locations in this movie was the very last location of the original series. And we had shot a small scene that was supposed to be with Phil Hoffman, who was no longer with us, unfortunately. But we finished this very emotional scene, and then we ended up having the champagne toast for the wrap of the entire franchise in one of the locations that we shot in for this movie. So it was this kind of nice emotional way of coming back into Berlin.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And now it's your turn. Oh, I see Paris in the first row. Please wait for your microphone. Oh, we have it here.
RTL, so nice meeting you. Let me say, great movie. It was so much fun for me watching this, and all good job. Well done. But the most important thing for me in this movie, because I'm a science fiction film, is not only the production design, it's the chemistry between Rachel and Tom, because you are both so amazing. So I just wanted to ask Francis, how was it for you finding these two people? And how was it for you when you get in the casting process? Was it just the telephone was ringing, or was it just you maybe go to the whole process? So how did you enter the project? And Francis, how easy or how hard was it for you to find these two perfect people?
I'll start if you don't mind. So Rachel was probably the first call that I made. She was the first choice to play Lucy Gray, and she happened to be in London about to start a movie, and I was in London to do a score for my previous movie. And we sat down and met at a restaurant, and usually these meetings last for about an hour, and this one lasted 4 hours. And we talked about the book, and we talked about the character, and we talked about the music. There were some tears that were shed. There was like an amazing connection. But anyway, I knew she was going to be Lucy Gray. Tom, for me, we saw lots and lots and lots of people. He kind of came out of the blue. I was in Germany. I was on a train going to Duisburg to scout, and his audition came through, and he just blew everybody away. I mean, he had the big blue eyes, which was going to be a great sort of connection to Donald Sutherland. I was like, I can see how somebody like this could age and feel a little bit physically like him. But he's so talented. He's Juilliard trained. He's very good at his craft. We knew that he was going to be able to hit all of the emotional needs of the character journey. And he's also just has a sophistication and an intelligence, which is also the thing that's really important, especially when you want to believe that a character or an actor is going to be able to sort of grow into somebody in Donald Sutherland's shoes, because he has real sophistication and intelligence. Tom had that. Last thing I'll say is once we knew we had the two of them, we wanted to do a chemistry test. And Tom was in New York, Rachel was in London, I think I was in France somewhere. And I asked Rachel to sing. There was a song that I love that is very much in the sort of tone of the music in the movie, which is Wildwood Flower, an a cappella version from the Carter family. And I just wanted Tom to watch. And so we were all on Zoom, and I shut my screen off. And she just sang the most beautiful a cappella version of Wildwood Flower. And I think Tom was kind of stunned. But it was just seeing the two of them, the way she sang it and the way he watched her, that we knew that the chemistry was going to be there. And it was actually a really pretty magical moment. So,
Sure. How do I follow that? That was very complimentary.
Said a
Thank
lot
you.
of nice things.
I think the chemistry read was the moment where I knew that we had chemistry. Which is, I guess, the whole point of that. I was in New York, and there was a heat wave, and we'd been through a series of auditions, and I guess it was the final kind of hurdle to make sure that Rachel and I fit together. So we were on Zoom, and it was this massive heat wave in New York, and I was sweating. And I remember getting on. Do you remember I was saying, I'm sorry, all my AC is not working, and it's too hot, and I was like sweating, and I was like, I'll do my best. And Rachel came on, and we did the scene, and then she sang the song. And the minute she started singing, I forgot about everything else. Like, it was like my sweat glands closed up, and everything that was going on in the world of my life just kind of like was drowned out by this song. And the scene just kind of opened up, and this was through Zoom, which is, hard to connect with someone as it is. And I kind of left that going, oh, that's Snow and Lucy Gray. They, no matter what is going on in the world with them, his family are struggling, and he's trying to provide for his family at the beginning of the movie. But once he meets Lucy Gray, it's like her singing drowns all the noise out, and everything makes sense, and he wants to fight for her. And I think it's the first time in his life as a character that he almost becomes at least as close to selfless as Snow can be. And it's because of her, and I think that is a credit to Rachel's talent and beautiful voice, that I kind of knew where that lived. Yeah.
Too many compliments from this side of the table. I mean, truly, there's not much more I can add because the story's been told, but I will say when it comes to, you can't fake chemistry. It has to be a natural thing. It's very hard to find people that you're comfortable with, which is where the chemistry comes from, and it's an inherent sense of comfort with your scene partner, and I had that with Tom immediately. All of the scenes that we had to do together, before the day would really begin, before shooting would start, we would rehearse with Francis, and we would talk things through, what felt comfortable coming out of our mouths. A lot of that is credit to Michael Arndt and Mike Lastly, who wrote our script, but also just to Tom and I reading through it and talking about what made us comfortable, what made sense for the characters, because no one knows your character better than you. You're in their body every day. And it was very comfortable to settle into the body of Lucy Gray while Tom was in the body of Snow.
Some more compliments. The second row, the lady.
Hi, my name is Alexandra from Riek's Filmkritiken, and I have a question for Uli. I will ask it in English. Uli, you just created a beautiful, fantastic set, and I just wanted to know how much of the set was actually green screen. And then for all of the others, I wanted to ask what was so special for you to film in Germany and also in Poland, but especially in Germany. And how did you like Uli's set? I mean, you can't say anything bad now, but just wanted to know.
You can, actually. No, so I'm answering in English, of course. So we didn't do a lot of green screen at all, to start with. Francis and I kind of decided from the very beginning on that we would like to use as many real locations as possible, because they give, maybe because it's such a fictional world, maybe it's even more important to ground it somehow and to give it something real and physical. So we were able to find this great location for the arena in Wrocław, Poland, which was the biggest thing, or the most difficult thing to find, or location to find. We never really expected to find something as great, but then we did. Then, and the same here in Berlin. So we actually, the only thing we did entirely on stage was the Snow apartment, for certain reasons, especially because we wanted to look at it in a very specific way, in a very specific shape and material, so you need to design and build it. But that was the only real build, so to say. Everything else was really on location. And of course, we always had the extensions, the visual effects extensions, as the city silhouettes and the extension of buildings and such things, or big sculptures and those elements you would not build for just a moment. But in general, you can say the film is very real in a way.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I would just add that coming onto a franchise like this, I think I had a certain misconception that I was going to be doing a lot of green screen work. And, it's just a big movie, it's a big world, and lots of monsters and, things that Dr. Gould puts in the games. So I just assumed there'd be a lot of green screen work, a lot of having to struggle to engage my imagination. And I think actors fear green screens and things like that, and CGI a little bit, because you worry that you're not going to be able to believe it as much or something. But Uli's sets were so tangible and so palpable and so the capital that you got on and immediately felt like you were there. And shooting in real locations, which is a testament to our whole team choosing to do that, it immediately makes you feel like you're there in the world. And Berlin, we all love it here. It's beautiful and vibrant and alive. And so I think that came into the playing of it as well. But really, like the reason we can't stop singing Uli's praises enough is because it's just like magnificent, the stuff that he makes with such unique passion and energy.
Thank you.
Love you, man.
Thank you. Overwhelming, actually.
Great. The next question. Where do we have the next question? Oh, over there. The lady.
Hi, I'm Antonia from Medienboard. So my question is leaning on the previous one. Do you have a favorite spot here in Berlin? Because it was such a great experience, obviously, for you. Like, how is it to come back and see all these places again? And can you tell us a little bit about your experience shooting here?
First of all, I love shooting here. It's a fantastic city. There's so much to do and so much to see. Obviously, I loved it too because it gave us the locations that we needed. Also, we got to meet and work with Uli, who is an unbelievable person and immensely talented. And I will also say that I think that we had the best crew that I've ever worked with. And primarily it was a German-based crew, Berlin-based crew, but even when we were in Poland, the crew was truly amazing. So I will say one thing that I wanted to do, because it rarely happens, is as soon as we finished the movie, Cameron McConomy, who's another producer, and I flew the movie out here just to show to the German crew, because it was really a magical experience, and you just don't get that lucky that often to have a crew as talented as these people.
We have time for one last question. Oh, the lady in the second row.
Sorry, I'm asking another one for Francis. So the whole Panam universe offers so much story potential, and I just wanted to know if there's like a chance for the fans to expect more films from the...
You know, when we finished the Mockingjay movies, we thought that was it, that we were done. Suzanne Collins, who wrote the books, you know, she had been working on the books and the movies for 10 years, and she was like, I have to do something else. And, you know, she wanted to go write some plays or something. And Nina and I both went off and made some other movies and made some TV shows. And, you know, I'd say maybe 4 years passed or something, and we got a surprise call from Suzanne saying, hey, guess what? I know I didn't tell you, but I'm almost done with a new book. And we, of course, got very, very excited because we had had some time to do some other things and loved the book and did this. Any more stories, I think I can speak for Nina and I, have to come from Suzanne Collins, right? I get asked all the time, would I pick a character, would I pick see the Hamish game, see the Finnick game, something like that, and there's fan favorites. But the truth is what makes this series so special is that Suzanne always writes from theme. She comes up with a topic that she wants to write a story about. The original series were all about the consequences of war. This is about the state of nature debate. It's like truly about like who we are as humans. Like, are we brutal and savage, or are we good and deserving of rights and freedoms? And that's what the story's about. And so if she comes up with a new idea and a new topic and a new relevant theme that she wants to write a story about that's in this world, I'm 100% in. But I have to wait for that to happen.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. The Tribute von Panem, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, will be released in Germany on November 16th. Thank you very much for your questions. Thank you very much, Francis, Nina, Uli, Josh, Hunter, Tom, and Rachel. Thank you for coming to Berlin, and good luck for the premiere tonight. Have a great day.